a monitor, a 27-inch monitor over here. I've got a laptop, and then in front of me, I've got a 32-inch monitor. So if you see me looking over in this direction, it's because I'm actually paying attention to who might be jumping into the room. Annie, nice to see you. And we're going to go ahead and get started. It's interesting. I decided to put this class together. I seem to always do this where I have a dream, or I have a impression, an intuition. And so I really wanted to share some things with people and give you maybe a deeper understanding. There'll be some of you that have been on these sessions before. There may be some content that's similar. But here's the thing about learning, which I'm going to go into detail about, is when you're learning something, repetition is one of the keys. If you don't get into repetition with any kind of learning, you're going to fail to learn and become good at whatever that particular situation is. And so when I started training and doing Qigong, and I started martial arts and went into Qigong, I'll get into some of that. It was repetition every day. It was maybe mundane. It's the mundane things that are going to get you the results on a long term, right? If you're in exercise, sometimes exercise is not that enjoyable. Sometimes it is, but it's mundane. It's work, right? And that's where we got to look at it. And we're going to do some meditations tonight that I believe are going to be helpful for you, which is exciting. And I call this session Unleash Your Potential and Unlock Your Power to Become Unstoppable. And I really want you to have that belief, because everything starts in the mind with the belief that you can become unstoppable. Chances are, if you've been on my list, you've had a conversation with me, 30-minute call. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't, you can certainly take me up on that. And the thing is that a lot of times I'll talk with people and then they don't ever listen to whatever I say, and they don't ever do it. They never communicate with me. And so they just like drop off the face of the earth in terms of what we talked about. To me, that's a waste of my time when I'm giving valuable information to somebody that they actually, don't heed it. Maybe it wasn't good advice. I don't know. But I tend to think that it was good advice. But your doorway to transformation's just opened. And here's the thing. Anytime you're in a session like this, whether it's with me or whether it's with some other speaker, trainer, is you always have to look. The doorway is right in front of you. Transformation is a continual process. It's not one thing. It's continuous. And so the doorway's opened. It's going to continue to stay opened. We're going to cover the 6 pillars. I'm going to go more in depth than I have in a lot of classes on the 6 pillars and cylinders for success. One of the things that I figured out over the last couple months, probably the last couple years, is that I've probably given too much information to people. And what I mean by that is that I have so much in my curriculum that oftentimes I'll say, hey, you can get all of these courses and programs, and it's too much. And so it has a tendency to cause the person to just be overwhelmed with concepts, methods, and so forth. So what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about chunking things down and getting yourself into a mechanism where you focus on the most important things for you. Now, when you look at this 6 pillars: mindset, energy, focus, perception, manifestation, and healing, they all integrate. And that's how I built the system. I didn't build the system just because I said, oh, I want to do healing or I want to do mindset. It all came together. I started doing the energy. And then through the energy, the meditation. Through the meditation, I got into hypnotic influence, which was the mindset. And from doing the meditation and the chi, the psychic, right? Because then the more you open up the sensitivity and awareness in your body, the more psychic you become. And then when you become a controller of your energy and your mind, then manifestation happens. Those of you that are watching, I want you to really focus in on this manifestation thing, because there's so many things out there about manifestation that are just they're crazy. And the fact of the matter is, you can manifest anything you want. However, you've got to do it in the right way, or it's not going to work. I'm going to give you a good example. I spoke to a young lady maybe 2 weeks ago, and she was insistent that she couldn't manifest. She was having issues. Well, she was unwilling to learn new skills. She was unwilling to look at a new job. She was unwilling to get herself out there and associate with newer people. How is she going to manifest? But her concept of the manifestation was that it was out of thin air. And yes, that can happen. But before that happens, you usually have to have a mindset that's really powerful and positive. Very rarely does it happen to somebody that has a lack mentality. I can assure you of that. And so the fact of the matter is, your manifestation could be right out in front of you and you don't see it. And then healing is really multiple faceted, because it's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical. It's the trauma. We all have trauma from when we were younger. When you're younger and your brain and your body are growing, you get traumatized. And sometimes you get traumatized inadvertently, and it's something that bothers you, but it really shouldn't have. Maybe it would bother me, but it didn't bother you, right? And then, of course, there's trauma where it's definite, right? So write this down. I'm here to create power for myself. It's not about me. I've already got a lot of power. It's about you. It's about spending some time and looking at this, however long we go, a couple hours or whatever, and we focus in on you. I want everything that I talk about today, I want you to relate it back to you. Has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with anybody else that's on this workshop other than you. The focus is on you. And so as I mention things, I want you to embrace it from the standpoint of where you're at. And I also want you to take what I call and was taught about a grocery store approach. And what that means is that not every concept that I talk about you're going to embrace. But I want you to take the ones that you can embrace, and I want you to work with them as best you can. Many of you may or may not know, I'm a best-selling author. I've written 15 books, courses, and that's really the basis of what I teach. If you don't have access to the Mind Force library, it's a great resource. But again, anything that I teach and provide for somebody, if you want to invest with me or someone else, here's my recommendation to everyone. Is if you're going to invest money, read the books, do the exercises. My books are more manuals, because you're doing the exercises when you go through these books. They're not simply a book to read, right? And then I've got a lot of courses and things. It's interesting. Somebody was asking me the other day, they said, what kind of things would I learn if I were to train with you? And I put together this list. I found this list on one of my presentations from years ago of all the things that I teach. And I teach what I call esoteric training. Now, esoteric simply means hidden. Obviously, in some cases, esoteric could be evil, or it could be light side. I'm on the light side, by the way. I'm not a witch. I'm not a demon. I don't deal with demons. I cast them out. And that's the way I believe, right? And so you're either on one side or the other. Most people will say to me, well, I'm not on that side, the dark side, but sometimes they are and they don't even know it. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent, but I teach different methods: breathing, attracting energy. And I'm going to build up a case for you today so you understand how this energy system works, because it's all energy. All energy can be transformed, and you can use it for every aspect of your life, no matter how old you are, whether you're 20, whether you're 30, 50. I've trained people that were in their 80s. I've trained males, females. I've trained little kids, 10 years old, and I taught them how to move objects with their energy. In fact, they were able to do it way more easier than any adults. And I have a phase 2 training that goes into more detailed exercises that are just, amazing stuff on the energy level. And 3 different sections of that where I offer certification. And so the reason I bring this up for you is I want you to understand that it's a great big world out there. I've been doing this for 28 years. And in 28 years, I've probably forgot more than what most instructors or gurus even know, because I've always sought out the best that I could find, men, women that I could learn from. If I could drive to wherever they were or take a plane, I would go, mostly in the United States. I haven't really traveled overseas, but I'm sure there's some good instructors overseas as well. As you come into the room, doing the best I can to make sure everyone gets in. But I see some familiar names and faces. Hi, Tom Miller. And by the way, you're all muted as you're coming in so I can go through the presentation. And so every high performance athlete, business executive, entrepreneur, doctor, healer, actor, even stay-at-home moms have a coach and a mentor to help them to excel at what they do. Bottom line. I mean, that's the way you have to look at things, is you have to learn that you have to have a mentor or coach. It doesn't have to be me, trust me, but you have to have it. My number one goal is for you to have a transformation or breakthrough financially, emotionally, or physiologically, no matter how small or large. And give me your honest feedback so I might be able to share it with others to help them change their life as well. I always make a recommendation on books. And I did a training class on Think and Grow Rich a while back, and people loved it. If you haven't read the book Think and Grow Rich, you need to read it. And you need to read it over and over and over again. Let's see if I have a copy somewhere here. I just cleaned out my desk, but let's see here if I can find it. Think and Grow Rich. This is an old copy. I've got all of my highlights. And the reason I talk about this book is I read this book first before I was even involved in the energy and the chi. I thought it was a great book. But then when I read it after I started developing my energy and my chi, it took a whole different meaning, because this guy really had insights that were, in my opinion, otherworldly, right? And so when you see things like this, you have to embrace them and you read them over and over again. It's the type of book you can just pick up. I'm going to just pick up a page that's highlighted, and I'm going to read something to you right now. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. I just picked that out. But this is the kind of book it is where you can just pull something that's going to gain strength. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. Powerful, powerful stuff. And I want you to embrace that type of thinking. But let me tell you about the day I almost died at 7 years old, as we're talking about trauma. I lost my mother that day, because from that day forward, I would never be allowed to live with my mom because of what she'd done to me and my brother. My mother was a beautiful person, but she was mentally ill. She was an alcoholic. And on Christmas Eve, when I was 7 years old, because my brother and I were rambunctious, she gave us tranquilizers, and we went to the ER, and we almost died. They pumped our stomachs. If we hadn't been going to a Christmas Eve party, and an uncle picking us up, and obviously noticing that the 2 young lads were knocked out in the back seat, I probably wouldn't be here today. I always loved my mother, and I understood that she had deficiencies. Seeing it now, though, I think she was psychically aware, because she was always seeing things. And I believe she was being compelled by spiritual forces to do things that she didn't want to do. And we may get into a little bit more detail on those kind of things as well. I had 3 kids by the time I was 26. So I was broke as a joke, but I wouldn't change anything. I haven't always been success-minded. Life throws you a curve, And at 26, in fact, I have 4 kids. This is 3 of them before 26, but I have a 4th one. And the thing is, when I see my kids, I mean, my youngest daughter has 1 son. I have 1 grandson. She's pregnant with another. But when I see people with 3 kids, I'm like, oh my Lord, that's a lot of kids. But I dealt with it. I was separated twice, but I've been married for actually 35 plus years now. And the reason I bring these things up is because, as I mentioned in the starting, everyone has trauma. Everyone is being traumatized. And if you're on the East Coast right now, you're being traumatized. How many people live on the East Coast and are getting this smoke in the air? Right now, it's the strangest thing. They say that things are burning in Canada and we're getting smoke over here. I'm not buying it. I mean, I'm 59. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. It's just so bizarre. But anyway, everyone goes through trauma. Everyone goes through something, and maybe a combination, right? And that's what life's all about. So I'm sure that not everyone on this call is always running on all cylinders and feeling happy and joyful every day, but I'm going to show you how you can do that every day. There are 3 types of people. There are those who want to do things totally on their own, reinvent the wheel. There are those who want to do it by themselves, but follow a system of success, self-paced, which is smart. And then there's those who have a mentor or coach where they commit and put their best foot forward to transform themselves and have massive breakthroughs at a rapid pace. The reason I bring that up is, again, this is one of those things I want you to embrace and say, which one of those is me? Am I looking to reinvent the wheel and create something that maybe would be easier if I just got into a system and learned it? Would it be better to get a mentor or coach? Obviously, when you get a mentor or coach, it's going to be a little bit more of an investment because you have to invest time, your accountability, and maybe some money, right? But the fact of the matter is, if you're going to learn anything, you're going to be one of these 3. There's no other way to look at it. But it's important when you letting some people into the shop. That's why I'm looking over that way. But you have to surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. I love this photo. I have it on every presentation I do because these big cats exude power and majesty, and they're together and they're going out to take care of business, whatever that might be. And you need to do the same thing. You need to surround yourself with those on the same mission as you, either in an environment like this or in your local area. Whatever it is you want to do, that's what you have to do, is surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. If you're hanging around people who are limited in thinking and limited in abilities and skill sets, you will be like them unless you are so overpowering to them that you can get them to come to your way of thinking. But usually what happens is we are like the people we hang around with. They say that your net worth is very similar to the 5 people you hang around with the most. Whatever the total net worth is of that group of 5 people, you're probably right in there. You might be the highest, but you're not that further away from the other people. So these are important concepts I want you to understand because these are all things that you control. Now, we're going to do a meditation that I call "You Are the Center of the Love Universe." And I start this off because I want you to understand that love is the most powerful energy. It's the most powerful force in the world. It's the way that you are going to become and transform, is by becoming a better lover, so to speak, of life. And when I talk about this love, I talk about it emanating from your heart. And then it just pours out. The energy just pours out of your heart, right? This is the meditation room, by the way. And so some of you are on this workshop and you're going to have a thought and say, I can't love everyone. There's some people I can't stand, my ex-husband, my ex-wife, my mother, my brother, my this guy that ripped me off and stole $100,000 from me, or this woman that cheated on and stole my husband, and you're going to have that. But I want you to love them anyway. Because love is the conquering force, and it's the thing that is going to allow you proper alignment in your life. And so it's a love that's going to cascade out. And so I want you all to relax, close your eyes, take a deep breath. And when you take a deep breath, you let your stomach go out on the inhale, and you relax on the exhale. It's called Buddha breathing or baby breathing. And just relax. With each breath, you get more relaxed. I want you to imagine inside of your room or wherever you're at that you have a heartbeat and you can feel it and it's pulsating. I want you to start to expand that heartbeat, that heart. And I want you to make it so that it's encompassing your entire body. Your entire body is heart, is love. Put a smile on your face. Feel the love. Think of something that causes you to love, whether it's a partner, spouse, child, a grandchild, a friend, a relative. Feel that love that they've given to you and that you've received from them. Expand it out to the room you're in, and then expand it out even more to fill up your entire home. If you're in an apartment, the entire apartment building. If you're in a city, which most of us are, fill the city with love. And see those individuals in your city that may not have been touched by love, and they automatically have a change of heart because of the love that you're sending to them. And I want you to expand it all throughout your country, wherever you may live, whether it's Australia, United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, even if you're in Antarctica. Expand that love throughout the entire country, and then the continent, and then the world. Spread that love because your energy transcends the entire planet. And then once you get past the planet, I want you to become the center of the love universe, where the entire universe, the love that you're sending out, encompasses the entire universe. Feel that power? It's a relaxed power that feels good because you're making others feel good. Imagine how much healing you could do when you loved someone that's never been loved and they feel that love for the first time. And when that energy hits them, they become totally transformed. And you become transformed because you've healed somebody, you've helped somebody, you've loved somebody. Relax. Breathe out. Feel that energy pulsating. Send the love to the people that are in the workshop. You don't know them, but you can love them. You don't even have to like them, but you can love them. Okay, open up your eyes. So, how did that feel if you just type into the chat? Did anyone, what did you guys feel? Was it anything interesting? Just type into the chat. Warmth. Okay. Type in so I can see. Into the chat. Warmth. Did you feel love? Who felt love? Anyone else? We've got quite a few people and only 2 people respond. Energy, confirmation, and conviction. I am love. Exactly. You're all love. And you should use that affirmation, I am love. I am love. I use an affirmation that I have on my wall there. I am the universe. You are powerful, and I am the master and creator of my life. Life feels so much easier when you love. It's correct. And we're going to talk about how you can go through life loving all the time. And many of you will wonder about loving somebody that maybe you have a little issue with, but we're going to talk about that. But let me show you something here real quick that I think will make sense. And I always do this little cartoon or whatever you want to call it, is that if this is you, right? And this comes down to all this concept of manifestation and how you can actually get the benefits of what you're doing, is that we all have a certain amount of energy, male or female. And as you have that energy, you have a certain amount. Now, some people are born with a lot of energy, and some people may not be, right? And so the fact of the matter is, you have to build up your energy. I'm going to show you how you can build up your energy. All right. And let's see here. And so what happens is, I'm going to show you some techniques on how you can build the energy up. And you've got to build the energy up in the correct way. I mentioned before, if you build it up in a dark way, you're building up a dark energy. You're going to be like that guy from Charlie Brown that has the pig pen that has like the cloud over him. But if you're building the energy in the right way, it's going to serve you. It's going to serve you. And so you've got to develop that energy and build it up, build it up, build it up, build it out in the right way. I've trained people in the past. Like I said, I've been doing this for close to 30 years. I've trained some people that didn't want to listen. They used the energy. They wanted to manipulate with it. They wanted to get fast results. They wanted to they wanted to manipulate people. They went kind of dark and their life fell apart. They built up an amazing amount of energy and then they used it in the wrong way. And your life will come crashing down. But guess what? There's no difference between that and, let's say, somebody that is a drug addict and they're so addicted to drugs that they can't think of anything else. Their life takes a dive as a result of that. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So imagine what your life would look like if you could create a powerful vision, an unbreakable strategy, and a dominant mindset to set a pathway to reach your goals in as little as 90 days. Again, I want you to imagine that. What would the next 90 days look like if you could create a vision, have a strategy, and then have that dominant mindset that would keep you on pace to reach your goals in 90 days? Now, I want you to know this could be any goal. This could be a monetary goal. It could be a physical goal. It could be a relationship goal. The goal doesn't matter. I mean, I train executives. I do executive coaching, entrepreneur coaching, and I coach people personally. It's all the same. every problem, with the exception of business issues where you can give them specific things to do, which I can do for personal individuals as well. It's all the same. It all comes down to the energy and the mindset. If you have a rotten mindset and bad energy, you're not going to be able to use a vision, strategy, and mindset. It's not going to work. It's like you're going to be trying to push this energy out, and it's negative energy. You've been in a room with somebody that has negative energy. You've probably felt it on yourself before. You need to know how to correct it. So these 6 pillars hold up your foundation for success. And as I mentioned to you before, is the 6 pillars are the energy, vitality, quantum qigong, focus, relaxation, esoteric meditation, awareness and sensitivity, psychic powers, restore, rejuvenate, healing methods, manifestation, abundance, and influence and power, mindset domination. And these are the 6 pillars. And what we're going to do is break it down so that you understand how these all work together and integrate so that you can get the very best results that you desire. And the thing is this, I don't expect everyone, in fact, I know you can't do this, is I can't expect everyone to jump in and like do them all at one time. Like, oh, I want to do all 6 pillars. You will, they integrate, but you usually start with one. A lot of people start with the meditation. Some people start with the energy. Others want the mindset. And then the others usually come as an offshoot. So the first one's the mindset domination, hypnotic influence, where you master your mindset. You dominate your thoughts and beliefs. You eliminate self-doubt and cultivate an unshakable belief in your abilities. You develop the mindset of a high achiever, embracing resilience and unwavering self-confidence. And this is one of those things that when you read that, again, ask yourself, do I dominate my thoughts? Because you are dominating your thoughts. You're either dominating them with the power or you're dominating them with the exact opposite of power. It's power in the opposite direction. So everything that you've ever manifested in your life was a result of your power, either negatively or positively. The problem is that we don't ever want to accept that because we don't want to ever feel like we are responsible for our own life. We want to be able to blame it on somebody else. And unfortunately, the buck stops here, folks. But you have 3 minds, and this is how you're going to control this process. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious, right? So this conscious mind is your conscious level of thought. The subconscious is below the level of consciousness, and it's really the part of the mind that's going to steer you. It's the part of the mind that's going to cause you to do whatever you need to do. For instance, conscious mind, you don't have to think about waking up in the morning. You wake up and you go. You don't have to think when you get in your car nowadays. You just get in, you do it, right? You don't have to consciously really think about it. You don't go into your car and say, okay, I have to open the door, I have to close it, I have to put on a seatbelt, I have to start the car. You don't have to consciously think about it. You've done it so many times. Again, it goes back to repetition. You get in and you get it done. And then the superconscious is this other element of the mind. That's the combination of the mind force and the chi, where you're being able to create this. It's almost a second person in a way that you can take this superconscious mind and allow it to give you feedback on things that you want to get answers from. Superconscious mind, like a lot of times I go to sleep and I call it my subconscious mind as well. I say, hey, subconscious mind, I'm working on this. I would like you to get me an answer. And I believe I'm going to get an answer. It's going to come somehow, some way. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen in that dream that night, but I'm putting it out there. It might be a resolution from somebody that I know that will tell me something that is significant to me. Energy and vitality. It's called quantum qigong. You're harnessing your energy. you're tapping into an unlimited source of vitality and drive that will fuel your success, both personally and professionally. Experience a renewed sense of purpose and enthusiasm in all areas of your life. The energy is the key. And that's probably why you're here, is that the energy supersedes everything. When you walk into a room, the energy's there. And when you walk into a room and the energy is not so good, it's still there, but it's not serving you. You want to be able to build the energy up in a way that has that love factor, that attraction element, your ability to go in and talk to people. Now, it's interesting, but I always tell people that you have to be willing to change and develop the vision, the skill set, the mindset. If you're not willing to do those things, and it's going to take work, it's going to take that repetition, the flight time that I talked about, over and over and over again, getting good at something. If you are in your 50s, just picking a number out, and you want to maneuver into a new aspect of your life, then maybe you need a new skill set. I know at 50, you're kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that, but guess what? That might be what is required for you to get to that next level. And it's all about that energy. Is your energy an energy of wanting to do something, or is it an energy of, oh, woe is me? And you can build the energy up by using specific exercises that are designed to develop the energy. And when you put in the emphasis with the right mindset, it develops this aura, this energy that's all encompassing and flowing and causing you to get the results you want. And I can show you how to develop that energy bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it's going to serve you the way you want. The way you want, not the way that you think it's happening to you by mistake. Really, you're doing it anyway. You've always been in control. But the problem is that you've used your mind in the wrong way and you're not getting the results that you want. That's the ticket. Where energy flows, the energy flows where attention goes. So if you've got this energy, no matter how little or how much, when your attention goes to something, the energy goes there. So for example, you've got your mindset tuned in to something that you want and desire. The mindset is going to go to that thing and the energy is going to follow. And if that energy is strong, it's going to accelerate the attention, the mindset. You understand? It's going to accelerate it. Now, here's the thing. If you're accelerating positive, what do you think you get? Right? If you accelerate negative thoughts, feelings, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I've never done this. I don't have an education. I don't have this. I don't have that. The energy supports whatever you think. The energy flows where the attention goes. You have to understand that. Instant negative mind force is omnipotent. Fear, doubt, worry, anger, anxiety. Every day when I meditate, I pull out any fear, doubt, worry, anger, anxiety. I just pull it down to my feet and let it go out. You've got to cleanse your body daily because these things are going to infiltrate into your mind and your body. And if you do not do something to remove them, they will maintain and they will grow and they will get stronger. And next thing you know, you're fearful, right? You're fearful about everything. Oh my God, what's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen to my relationship? What's going to happen to my kids? What's going to happen? On and on. It's on and on. So you've got to cleanse. Because if you don't, this hurts your soul, because then you can be attacked by spiritual forces. Instant positive mind force is omnipotent. Faith, confidence, happiness, love, abundance. I also have on my wall right there health, prosperity, and love. I believe all energy that comes to me, whether it's negative or positive, I convert it to health, prosperity, and love. It's a triangle. And so the energy that you're putting out is either going to be the positive or the negative. It always is. There's no neutral. There's no such thing as neutral energy. Really not. You're either positive or you're negative. It's like a magnet. You're either positive or negative. There's no in between. You're either pushing or pulling. And when you're manipulating energy, you can physically attract energy. I can show you how to do that. Simple breathing, simple meditation, simple concepts that allow you to attract whatever it is you want. And then there's also the way to repel negative. You want to repel negative away from you. You want to accept and attract positive, abundance, love, happiness. You want a relationship? Send love out. Like a fisherman sending love, happiness, confidence. And you will attract what it is you're sending out. But what happens a lot of times is people send out what they don't want. I don't think I could find somebody that's going to like me. It never works out. Of course it doesn't, because your mindset is determining exactly what you want to have happen. What other result can you get when you put out that kind of energy in that mind? So important, so important. I want to talk a little bit now about the spirit, the triad, the chi triad, spiritual, mental, physical. And some of you may have seen this before, but again, it's worth repeating, because if you're not using it every day, then you didn't really learn it in the first place, and it didn't really mean anything. But these are just some of the mind force and quantum qigong power skills that I've taught, that I've learned over the years. And some of them are pretty weird when it comes to like business coaching. But of course, I don't really let my business clients see this kind of stuff unless they're really interested. Telepathy, intuition, perception, body insight, awareness, self-regulation of the body, communication abilities, mind-to-mind communication, spiritual communication, vitality, physical vitality, unique abilities, could be physical or spiritual, mental, abilities to alter the environment directly, mentally and spiritually. I know several people that can do that. I personally haven't really done that, but I've trained people that can. Pain and pleasure, how to increase pain or pleasure in yourself or others. Unusual perception skills, both mental, spiritual, physical, mind force power, mental, physical, spiritual skills. The mind, body, spirit connection. You've all heard about that, but you probably don't really understand it because it really has to be understood at a deep level. Love, which is the emotional power we talked about. And energetic assimilation, physical, being able to take that energy and harness it. There's 3 cornerstones of chi: mental chi, physical chi, and spiritual chi. They all work together. If you don't understand how this is the mind, body, spirit as it relates to the element of energy. I use the word chi. You could use energy, you could use prana, you could use ki. It doesn't matter the term. You want to use vital energy? I get people call me all the time. It's like, hey, do you know about vital energy? Well, of course I do. Oh, but it has to be specific like this. Well, that's somebody's interpretation of what that is. It's not a reality. It's like, it is what it is. Water's water. You can call it you can call it dynamic water if you want. You could call it the best water in the world, but it's still water. Physical chi manipulation is where you can manipulate things with the energy. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes how I can manipulate you guys with my energy, because I'm going to give you an opportunity to feel it. Some of you will feel it. Some of you may not. It's okay. But you can feel the energy and you can manipulate with the energy. I remember the first time I was manipulated by the chi, one of my instructors said, I want you to hold your hands right here by your face, and I'm going to smack you in the face before you block me. And I said, oh, that's going to be easy. And he smacked me in the face every time. Even though I knew it was coming, he manipulated me. Now, of course, that's a physical example through martial arts, but that's how I got started. But then I realized that if the chi could be used for things like that, it could be used for business, it could be used for relationships, it could be used for the totality of things, because the energy became not just this martial arts thing that could be used. It wasn't just an Asian thing, even though a lot of my instructors were trained in the Asian arts and some of them were Asian. It's not, country or culture, because it's everywhere. It's definitely everywhere. Mental chi manipulation. That's where the hypnosis, hypnotic influence, subliminal concepts come in. And when I go into my dark side of chi classes, I really talk about mental chi manipulation because it's going on. It's been going on for years, and it's at a fever pitch right now. The last couple years, and y'all know what I mean, we've all been manipulated mentally, emotionally, physically. And if you just look at the writing on the wall and see what's going on, you realize that this is mental chi manipulation. They're using concepts to cause you to be manipulated and to make moves to do one thing or another. This is going to hurt you. This is not going to hurt you. You need to do this. You need to do that. And they basically were controlling people. Lockdowns. You can't go here. You can't do this. You got to wear this. You got to do that. And I bought into it for 30 days. And after 30 days, I said, something's up. Something's up. There's something bigger than what's being talked about, because they're using the manipulation at a much stronger level than I've seen in a long time. Now, that's like on a global scale, right? But now then there's chi manipulation on a more localized scale where somebody could actually manipulate you hypnotically, subconsciously, and it's being done all the time. It's being done to children. It's being done to adults. And they're manipulating people in very, very dangerous and heinous ways. If you look at this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, it's a total manipulation game. Government involved, and, not that I want to get into conspiracy theories, but I want you to think. When you see things like that, you got to ask the questions in your mind. How and why, right? Like this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, he had this island, and who knows what all the shenanigans that went on that island. But the big question I have in my mind is, how did he get a $70 million apartment in New York City? To this day, there's no actual proof of how he actually got that $70 million apartment. There's really no record of it. And the island, that's another thing. But when you hear things like that, you go, okay, there's being manipulation done at a highest level from one person to another. And that's how you can tell how this stuff works. That's how I could tell how this stuff worked when I first got it started. I started looking around. I had relatives that were in the CIA, FBI, and then I started getting students that were spooks. And they would say, yeah, my dad was a spook for years, and he mentally manipulated and chi and this and that. And it's like, whoa, really? And then I would get calls from the government when I was really, hardcore into the chi and advertising everywhere. And they're like, hey, what kind of skills can you do? But I was trained by my instructors well enough that I just said, oh, it's really just parlor tricks, and, it's nothing big. Because I didn't want to get pulled into any government programs. That was the last thing I wanted, because a lot of times it's like the mafia. The only way out is, all the way out. I don't want to deal with that. Spiritual chi manipulation. This is the concept of spiritual entities, demons, angels, other types of entities, right? And that's where you can be manipulated by these things. And if you don't understand how that works, you'll be manipulated by them. There's no question that you won't be. I've dealt with so many different individuals that have been possessed, and we've had to get rid of that possession. Like I mentioned, my mother, who was mentally ill, but I think she was really spiritually awake because she was always seeing things, hearing things. And so she was kind of dimensional jumping. And a lot of times when people are doing that dimension jumping, they can't handle it. It's too much. Now, you can call it mental illness, and there probably is some mental illness, but there's a lot of people that are mentally ill that are actually, they're going between the planes of existence. And what's happening is it's affecting them. They can't handle it. I don't know if I could handle it all the time either. I can see it enough. If I was seeing it all the time, it'd be kind of weird. That's the other thing with enlightenment and open up the third eye. You're going to see some weird things. And some people don't want it. For instance, I remember talking to a guy many years ago that I was training with. He bought one of my programs, and we were talking on the phone, and he's like, "Al, how do I stop it from getting worse?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, I see too much. I hear too much. I see too many crazy things. He goes, I want to block it off. I'm seeing too much. I'm reading too much into somebody's thoughts. I know too much about him. And when I know about him, I don't like. And I said, bro, you got to desensitize yourself then, or embrace it and use it to the best of your ability. That's what it is. So there's a very small percentage of people that are naturally inclined to do these types of things. But guess what? It's the same thing as any other kind of anomaly that's in the world, whether it's physical, mental. I mean, you got some people that are geniuses. I just read the other day that this kid graduated college at 14 years old. Now, 14 years old, I was failing out of science class. This kid's graduating from college. So everyone has a talent, and maybe at a different spectrum level. So you got some people that are graduating college at 14. That's a one in a, however many million. And then you've got people that can manipulate with energy. I had a report years ago. I still wish I had it. I lost it in a move one time. And, but it was a great report. It was in Chinese, but it was interpreted for me. And they were doing these tests in China. So this stuff's going on in China too, and every other country. No matter, they're not going to tell you they're doing it because they don't want you to know. Just like they don't want you to know all this other stuff that they've been hiding from you for the last 3 years. But they were taking these Chinese kids, and they were taking the kids, and they called them special kids, and they would have them do these different things. Like they used to have those film cases that 35 millimeter film would come in, and they would take something and they would put it in the film case, and they would wrap the film case up with tape, and they would put the film case down over on a table or something, maybe even another room, and they would tell the kids, I want you to transfer whatever that item is from the film case into your pocket. And then maybe they were wearing lab coats or something like that, but into the pocket. And a lot of the kids were able to do that. Some of the kids were able to also move it back into the box, film case or whatever. And then there were some kids that took the item and totally, they made it disappear. They don't know where it went. Now, I know that sounds strange, but if energy is energy, then it's going to be able to be manipulated at many, many different levels. And those many different levels, like I said, are going to be very interesting, right? And there's going to be different natural abilities, just like natural abilities with strength and speed and singing. I mean, I can't hold a tune, but there's people that are naturally gifted with singing. My dad has a beautiful voice. My grandmother had a beautiful voice. I didn't get that gift at all. But the fact of the matter is there's people out there that have these innate skills. And I happen to meet a lot of them because they see my ads, they see my stuff online, and they're like, I already do that. In fact, I spoke to a young lady not that long ago. In fact, I emailed with her last month to see how she was coming along, but she's been manipulating objects for months. She's like, I don't know how I'm doing this. Right? So, I mean, it happens. And when it happens to people, they don't really want to show it to people, because I got news for you. You show that to somebody and they're going to think you're possessed, and you might be. And they're not going to want to be friends with you, because they're going to think you're doing all kind of other things, which maybe you can. So let me just go in a little bit, and I want to make sure, is this being helpful to everybody? Just put in the chat, if you will. Is this helpful for you guys, or is it not? Okay, good. Because I want it to be relevant for you. I'm building a case for you here, so you understand, that you can build up the energy. Just like there's some people, like I was just reading the other day, and not reading, I was watching a YouTube video. One of my favorite MMA fighters, his name is Bas Rutten. Well, he has this condition where his body has always had a high level of testosterone. He can eat food and not gain weight. He stays muscular all the time. And he said it's just this thing that the doctors have said he has since he was young. And it's an anomaly. It's an abnormality, if you want to call it that. But the fact of the matter is, he has it. Okay? And so you got to look at everyone's different. And so, but you can build it up, right? Just because he has that talent doesn't mean you can't achieve similar results. Of course, you might have to work at it a lot harder. So when we look at physical chi training, what that's comprised of in order to develop this energy is by creating flow patterns throughout the body, right? Using chi infusion techniques where you're bringing the chi in. You're building up the nerve fibers in the body. Think of it this way, is that if you're going to send chi through the body, you need to create a pathway to send it through. So you're creating this nerve fiber buildup, which is increasing the chi channels so that you can send more chi through it. Just like a hose, a high pressure fireman's hose, or a very big speaker wire. Very similar. Chi distillation is being able to take the energy and distill it and refine it into something extraordinary. There's two types of abilities to put chi out: steady flow, and then there's also a surge of energy. That's what the martial artists use a lot, and a surge of energy with a punch. Steady flow is nice and relaxed and easy to manipulate somebody that way. Body breathing, learning how to breathe through the body. And you can start doing that. Body breathing. Energy triangulation, which is where, if you understand the right concepts and principles, you can triangulate with two other people and manipulate. Because you're creating a triangle called the triangulation effect of chi. But you all have to know what you're doing. It's not just three stooges. Circular rotation of chi. The chi rotates out, circular. And so you're circulating the energy out. Again, these are all manipulation factors, but they're all methods. Liquid chi, learning how to fine tune the energy so that you can create it so it's almost like a liquid form. And then chi magnification, magnifying the chi. And this is just a small scratch of a sliver of what there is. And you're doing this through standing meditations, chi infusion techniques, blood washing techniques, screen training, and other types of exercises and meditations. It's not hard to do as long as you have the right exercises, and then you do it all the time. You know, I first started this, I was committed, and I trained every day. I started at 5 minutes a day. I woke up 5 minutes early in the morning, started training, and then I built it up 5, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to the point where I got to the point where I was waking up an hour and a half earlier in the morning to do my exercises. but I built up. So I would suggest the same thing for everyone on this call. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to where they've said to me, oh my God, I want to do this so bad. I'm ready to jump in. I'll do hours a day. And I would say to them, I would prefer you don't do that because you're going to burn yourself out. It's just like the guy goes to the gym and lifts weight for an hour and he hasn't done it in years. Next thing you know, he's sore for 3 days after, but he hasn't created the habit and he may not go back. Same thing's true here. So I want you to experience the energy in a couple different ways. I want you to sit comfortably and we're going to try a little something here. Of course, we're going to go to the meditation room to get into the right mood. And I just want you to relax. Take your body, and you can relax instantly. A lot of times people say, I just can't relax, Al. Can't relax. Can't sleep well. You got to teach yourself. You got to force the relaxation on your body. You control your body. Your body shouldn't control you. And it has to you have to consciously teach it until it becomes subconscious. So conscious first, then subconscious. Relax the body. We call it dead body. You want to get to where you're almost dead. Dead body. I want you to relax. And I'm just going to send energy out to this entire group. And if you can feel it, you just let me know after we're done. This is called steady flow. It's easy, it's relaxed. It should feel good. It should feel warm. Not warm, but cool almost, but comfortable. Vibratory a little bit. What I was just doing with my hands, because the hands are transmitters, is I transmit the energy from every finger in my palm I can circulate it around any part of your body. Some of you are feeling it, some of you aren't. Because, like anything, some of you are more open than others. See, I know my chi is strong, and if you're receptive, you'll feel it. Just feel it. Now, how you can get good at this? Did anybody feel anything? A couple people felt it, right? And I've done this to so many people. I've done it to kids. I've done it. I tell the story that I was teaching martial arts to a kid, and his babysitter was at the house one day, and I could tell she was open. I could feel her, and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I spend a little time with you? I want to do a couple things." And I literally was able to get her to feel the energy from across the room, sped up her heartbeat. She was like, "Oh my God, my heart's beating super fast." And it was like, that was great to be able to experience. Now, the reason I bring that up is because as you're developing these types of techniques, you want somebody that you can play with a little bit. You want to be able to get feedback. As I was doing this, I was getting feedback from everyone I could get from every aspect of this journey. The physical chi, the mental chi. I would do hypnotic influence. I would hypnotize people. I would manipulate them because I wanted to see if it worked, right? I don't want to do something that doesn't work. I only want stuff that's going to work. So I tried it out all the time. I remember one time, and I was using hypnotic influence specifically on a woman that I went out to lunch with who I didn't know, just met her that day. And she said to me, "You know what? I don't know what it is about you, but the way you talk to me is so very seductive." And I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but it gives me such a strange feeling. It's a good feeling, but I almost feel like you're drawing me in. And of course, I said to her, "Oh, that's crazy. I'd never heard anybody say that before, but whatever." But here's the thing, I was consciously doing that, and she gave me the feedback that I was looking for. And then I could just go back to normal. And so when we're talking about things like this, you definitely want to manipulate. You don't want to harm anyone. I would never do that. But you have to take it to a point where you know you're getting real feedback. Now, of course, if you like, when I sometimes I would work with, I remember I have kids that are more open than others. My oldest son's extremely open. He sees stuff all the time. And I would do things with him sometimes, it would freak him out. My youngest daughter, she's very psychic as well. And so you have to practice, you have to play. But you can feel that manipulation of the energy. I can see what I'm doing also is I'm taking everyone that's in this workshop and I'm pulling your energy into mine and I'm distilling it. I'm transforming it into good energy, right? Because here's the thing is everyone that's on this workshop is here for a reason. You're attentive, you want to learn, and so the energy is good to use. And so anytime that you're in a situation where there's a number of people and they're all there for a common reason, you can manipulate that energy extremely easy. Musicians do it all the time. Why do you think there's groupies? And why do you think people are being manipulated? Politicians and actors and all this kind. It's energy. It's energy manipulation. They may not know they're doing it, but that's what's happening. And you could go into a room and you can change the complexion of the energy. But if the energy is the room's an energy room, a church service, a rock concert, country western concert, you name it, where people are gathered and they're all into the same type of music or whatever, you're going to feel an energy, common energy. And that's what we have here. Okay. And let me just show you something here. Usually I don't show these. This is like the secret stuff, right? This is an energetic chart that when you get into advanced levels, that I'll teach you how to train with it, because this is an energy generating mechanism that will create energy and will accelerate your energy. And, if you look at this one design enough, it draws you in. And to some of you, that might even seem scary, right? It is hypnotic. That's the point. It's energy. And when you see a chart like that, of course, I wrote the book, 12 Devices That Almost Instantly Hypnotize. And as I started reading that and looking at it, I thought, I bet you I could use this for the energy. Nobody else does that. And then I conferred with some instructors and they were like, yeah, that's a secret. And so there are many secrets that I can almost guarantee you most so-called instructors they're not going to know anything about it because they just don't have the experience. They haven't been there. Now, here's something that I'll try with you real quick is let's take a look at 2 points, your solar plexus and your chi point. And I'm just going to send energy, relaxing, circular energy. And I'm going to do it this way, right? Your solar plexus and to your chi point. And I could actually do both at the same time. Does anybody feel that at all? See, that right there is what's called a structural link. It's the same thing that the voodoo people use when they have a voodoo doll. They have a structural link to the person. That's why they make a voodoo doll that looks somewhat like the person they're doing these things on. Now, of course, they're doing it in a way that's totally manipulating the person in the wrong way. But when you're using a structural link, I'm taking this image and using it as a structural link to everyone that has a possibility of feeling it. And again, some of you are sensitive that you're going to feel it, and some of you are not going to feel it. Like some people say they're rocking back and forth. When you let go of the energy, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the pulling and the pushing. That's the chi manipulation. It's not going to be like, I've seen it drastic, but I'm doing it in an easy fashion where it's not going to hurt you. But you can understand, you can accelerate that energy dynamically to use for other, types of things, which, can either be good or bad depending upon which side of the fence you're on. And then what you've got here is these are the vortexes in the body. Now, I teach a different vortex system than most people. Most teach straight down. They don't teach anything on the arms or the legs. But think about it. If you're going to use your body as a total body, chi body, why would you just do the head to the torso? Why would you cut it off at the groin when you got legs and you got arms? If you're really going to develop power, you're creating energy on the entire body, not just the torso. Most people that do the microcosmic orbit, right? They're going around the body and the torso. But what about the legs? What about the arms? Your hands are transmitters of energy, and you can feel them right now. Just by putting your hands up, you can feel each individual finger, and you can make each individual digit pulse with energy. You can do that. You can do the same thing with your toes. The only thing with your toes is that the toes, because you're standing on your feet all the time, they're less sensitive. So you have to sensitize them. But once you get your arms and your legs and your body sensitized, then you start opening up these chi channels. Most guys make the mistake where they're just doing they're doing the torso and the head. The head's easy because you can send energy to the head all day long and get results because it's very thin. Back is more difficult. It's thick. Legs are thick muscles, right? You're walking all the time. Arms are not as thickly muscled, but they're muscled. And that's the other thing, is if you're extremely muscular and strong, like a bodybuilder. I used to be a bodybuilder, and I stopped lifting weights because it inhibits the chi, because if you're like super bulked up, the chi gets stuck a little bit sometimes. If you're lean and mean, not so much. And then there's mental chi training, which is sitting meditation, lying down meditation, subliminals, hypnotic influence, mind force, brain mapping. And when you understand these aspects, and you say, okay, I'm going to learn this, there's all these different pieces, right? And it's learning how to put them together and say, okay, I want to be able to manipulate in this certain way. I mean, I would always go to my instructors. I would call people all the time and just try to get little tidbits. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if this happens? What if that happens? How do I do this? How do I do that? I'm sure I was a pain in the butt to a lot of people. because I wanted to know. But I didn't want to just know to know. And hopefully some of you on this call don't want to just know to know. You want to know so you can get it to work. Like, I know a lot of people that know everything about dieting, and yet they don't look so good because they know everything about dieting, but they never diet. They know everything about fitness, but they never do anything with it. There's some people that know everything about certain topics, and yet they don't do it. So how do you become successful when you do that? Here's another technique I want you to practice, which I think you're going to get some great techniques or great abilities from, is what's called sleepy eye peripheral vision. And I was taught this by an Indonesian master. And it was called relaxed eyes. You root the eyes. So you go sleepy eye. Now, the moment you go sleepy eye, what do you feel? Instantly more relaxed. You're looking this way. It's almost like you can't get angry like this. There's no way. You're relaxed. You're almost in a almost like a drugged state, hypnotic state. It's part of the hypnosis process, but it's a little bit different. Sleepy eye peripheral vision. It allows you to also be able to see, when you get good at it, what's going on in the room. And what I mean by that is like things that go bump in the night. You'll be able to see them better. When you pick your eyes back up, now it's like you're back to the real world. But that's a unique technique that you very rarely hear people teach because they don't know it. It's not that they're not going to teach it. They don't even know. I can't tell you how many Qigong instructors that I was so excited to meet. And when I met him, I was like, oh my God, this guy's a phony. Can't use Qi to do anything. In fact, I was showing his student stuff and they're like, oh my God, what are you doing? Where'd you get all this energy? It's like, I thought your guy had energy. No? Oh, well, I guess I wasted my time coming to New York City to see this guy. The Grand Master, right? Hey, it's simple stuff. You put the exercises in, it's going to work. You're going to get results. May not be in the time frame that you think you're going to get them in, but you're definitely going to get some results, with the process. And then the next thing is spiritual training, spiritual Qi, and that's lying down meditations, which are going to be OBE inducing, nighttime dream training, psychic sensitivity, and creating this other realm or going to other realms. There's a lot of thought about dimensions, and you can find books that go deep down the rabbit hole about stuff like that. I read all that. God, see, I read everything because it's not that everything that I'm going to read is going to resonate with me, but I want to know different thoughts because some of them are pretty accurate of what I've experienced. And then others I read and I go, I don't know if that really applies to me or really syncs up with what I'm thinking about, but it doesn't mean that it's not a valid concept. So that's why it is good to read books from other people and meet other people and exchange ideas. You can always get some feedback that is valuable. So don't ever discount that. And I think what happens as we get older, we don't want to become as teachable, and we want to be like, oh, I already know all that. Well, if you already knew all that, then you'd be doing all that and you'd be all that. You get it? But if you don't, then maybe you need to learn something new. And that's my thing. I don't, to me, I don't push anything on anybody because you either want to do it or you don't. My biggest thing with people that I've trained is finding somebody that's motivated to do the work for their results. And I usually find that I'll bet you 6 out of 10 people that I train, I want it more for them than they do, which is sad because it's hard to help somebody like that. I have to have somebody coming to me to say, listen, I want to learn how to do this. And I will do everything you say. I commit to it, and we're going to get it done. I've had many people that have done that, and they became really, really good. Usually they have a little bit of something beforehand, and they're like, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to the system. I'm going to do all the exercises on a daily basis. That's what it's going to take. You got to create a habit out of it. If you don't create a habit, you're not going to get the results. And so you got this physical, mental, spiritual, right? You got your body, which is just a shell that holds your spirit. You've got this mental facility up here. And combining those, it taps you into that spiritual essence. And it doesn't really matter what religious background you have, what you believe. What's going to happen is as you train, things will be revealed to you that you understand only. And it doesn't matter if anybody else does, because you do. And you understand, where you're at in that situation, right? There was a lot of things I didn't believe before I did this. And now I believe in a different way. It's changed my beliefs in some ways. In others, it just confirmed it even more, which is a good thing. So here's another exercise that I want you to think about. It's called spiritual dimension jumping. And I want you to think of a time in your life when you had a feeling of falling while you were sleeping. We've all done that, I'm sure. I'm sure there's not one person on this workshop that hasn't experienced that. That's usually indicative of your spirit going back in the body. You've had dreams with people that have passed. You felt like you were in a place that was real, but you were in a dream. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the last time that happened to you. So just close your eyes and remember that time. Because this is the inculcation of going from physical, mental to spiritual. And of course, you can do that, once we're done here as well. A lot of times when I train people, there's like, you're freaking me out a little. I don't know if I want to know all that stuff, right? I don't know if I want to see dead people. I get it. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. And when you do see things like that, you can't really tell people, because then they're going to think you're a freak. And they're going to be like, don't listen to Perhacs. He's crazy. So you can't really go around telling people things. You got to keep it to yourself unless somebody knows what you're doing. Mental chi, physical chi, spiritual chi. We get into the esoteric meditation. So we've covered the first two pillars: energy, right? And mindset, or mindset and energy. And then the third is focus and relaxed, esoteric meditation. You want to be able to amplify your focus, develop a laser-like concentration and mental clarity. Allows you to overcome distractions and maintain unwavering focus on your goals. You'll gain the ability to tackle challenges with confidence and precision. You'll learn secret sleeping skills, OBE, lucid dreaming, and other really cool stuff. And again, this is the other way you're morphing back and forth in these different realms. There is a dream realm, you experience it nightly. But there's also spiritual realms within inside of that. See, because your spirit doesn't really want to leave. I'm sorry, your spirit doesn't want to leave. Your body doesn't want your spirit to leave. Your spirit wants to leave to go out for playtime, but your body wants to hold on to it. So when you're conscious, it's not getting out. You've got to get yourself to a relaxed state. And some people don't even want to do that. But to me, these are all techniques that show that it works. That's why it's important to me to be able to know that it works. I can see it, I can feel it, I can experience it, and then I can make a decision if it was this, that, or the other. But it's the focused relaxation. Like I said, I can't tell you how many people I teach how to sleep and get relaxed so they could get a good night's sleep. I'm trying to get my wife to get better sleep because she's pulling too much anxiety into her sleeping and she doesn't want to let go. You have to let go and go total relax and just be able to relax at any time. I can sleep anywhere. I can relax anywhere. Now, obviously, if you have a high level of stress for something, it's going to take you a harder time to relax. But if you understand the concepts, you can do it pretty quickly. Relax and focus, right? A lot of people, that's like their main thing. This is something that a lot of times people say, that's what I want, that. You can get me that, I'll pay you anything, you know? And the fact of the matter is, how important is that? It really is. I mean, I've trained guys that were like executives making exorbitant amount of money, millions of dollars, but yet they were getting triggered on everything going on in their life. They were traumatized by their kids, by their wife, by the fact that they were having delusions that their wife was cheating on them, that the kids were this, that, or the other. And it's getting somebody and saying, listen, okay, we got to focus and concentrate on what you can do and leaving all that other stuff behind, because otherwise you're going to have a heart attack or something, a stroke, because you're building up this anxiety. You got to relax. Relax the body. Relax the mind. Relax the spirit. And tell yourself this all the time. That's the whole point. If you don't do that, you're going to get less than stellar results. That ties into the psychic power, right? Cultivating awareness and sensitivity, deepening your self-awareness, gaining insights. Everyone's psychic. But again, just like we used the other examples, some people are naturally psychic. And they can tell you about things that are going on and you're like, oh my God, how do you know that? Well, they just do. They don't even know how they do it. But there are ways that you can increase these skills. This is probably the thing that most people don't want to know about. It's like, I don't want to be psychic. I don't want to know what other people know. I don't want to know what's really in my wife's mind, because then I might not like her or him or your best friend, right? It's true. If you knew what everybody was thinking all the time, you wouldn't like too many people, because we have weird thought patterns that go through our mind all the time. And if you were picking that up, you'd be like, oh my God, this person's a freak. They've got weird thoughts, but it's the way it is. But that's the psychic power, right? And then you've got healing. It's the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Again, trauma. We talked about this in the beginning, that everyone has trauma. And it's my goal that when I work with someone is to release the trauma. Number one thing, that's the number one thing I want to do when I work with somebody. Just like I was mentioning this gentleman who's, very successful, but he's got all this trauma. He's got trauma from his past. His older brother was beating him up continuously. His father wasn't paying attention to him. His father later committed suicide, so he had trauma about that. He had trauma about the fact that his brother was a loser and he was super successful. He's like, what should I do? I said, go buy your brother a car. That's the love. You got the money, go buy him a car. He might wreck it. He might abuse it. What do you care? See, once you give the love, you've already given it. Doesn't matter what that person does with it. They could take it and throw it away. Doesn't matter. You've given the love. And the same thing's true with releasing the trauma. is that you just have to release it and let it go, because we all have it. And some of you have been abused sexually, some of you have been abused emotionally and mentally and physically, and you hold on to that trauma like it's a part of you, and it is, but you got to release it. You just got to let it go. Now, it never truly escapes, but what you can do is you can make it the size of a grain of sand and then pull it to the corner of your screen where you can barely see it and release the trauma. And that's what I would hope for everyone on this is that you release the trauma, you let go. You let go of the trauma. You realize that by letting go, you can be more free. You now feel free. You're trauma free. You can't ever, and here's the thing, is when you're dealing with these things, it's this way. You can't, the past is over. It doesn't matter what happened. Good, bad, and different. It's over. Your 8th grade sweetheart, she's not there anymore. She's somewhere else, doing something else. Doesn't matter. The future, you should plan for, but it's not real yet either. The only thing that's real is right now. Right now. That's it. There's no future and there's no past. The future is a possibility. Now is a probability. And if you focus on the now, you're going to be able to understand that you take action now. I have another thing written on my board right there that says, don't avoid anything. Every day counts, one day at a time. Focus on what's important. These are things on my board right there that I read. Anytime I get defocused, I look there and say, every day counts, one day at a time. Not tomorrow, today. And that all energy can be transformed. So if for some reason I get in a rotten mood for some reason, we all do, you got to transform the energy. We've all been violated at one time or another. Physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually. And the thing is, you got to let it go. Because the violations happened, but they're over. It's now time to get on to the next piece of business. If you want to use it as a way to identify yourself, you can, but it doesn't really serve you to be able to do that, to hold on to the trauma, because it's only going to stay there. It's only going to keep you down and not allow you to lift up to where you want to be. And it sounds like simplistic stuff. A lot of times people say, well, are you a therapist? Why would I talk to you? I go to a therapist. And I'm like, well, probably because the therapist has a therapist, and the therapist is probably ready to put a gun in his mouth too, because that's a lot of therapists. A lot of therapists have more problems than their patients. And the difference between me and a therapist, I don't give medical advice out, but I come up with solutions that work in the real world, not something that's theoretical, possibly in nature. Not to say therapists are bad, because I've gone to therapists. And usually I find when I go to the therapist, I'm like, I didn't really need to go to this guy. I just need to do more of what I need to do in order to get back on track where I know I need to be. But that's not to say that anybody you talk to is a good thing. Trust me. And so if you need to go to therapy, go to therapy. If you need a coach or a mentor, get a coach or a mentor. But if you're dealing with trauma and violations, get it sorted out, you know? And when you're a Mind Force specialist, you know how to control your mind for results. You'll understand internal energy, and you'll understand that concept that you've got to be able to shift from negative to positive, and recognize when you're in negative energy state to bring it to positive. Bottom line, I remember so many instructors used to say, you better get your energy right before you go to work. or you're going to have one of those days. And sometimes I listened to them and sometimes I didn't. You have a calm and relaxed mindset. It's one of the most important things, calm and relaxed. In fact, it's one of my affirmations. I'm calm and relaxed at all times. You'll have minimal stress, which is what we all want. You'll love life and every day's an adventure. You'll have systems that allow greater impact. So you can do more, be more. You'll understand the secrets to accelerating your success is investing in yourself. If I could give everyone the best piece of advice, invest in yourself. Invest in books. Invest in spending time using exercises and techniques. Invest in a coach or mentor if you can afford it. Invest in therapy if you need that. Invest in yourself. There's no better investment than investing in yourself. But here's the thing. A lot of times people invest, but they don't act. They don't put in the flight time. And then it becomes a waste of their money. And I never want somebody to waste their money. Whether you're investing it with me or you're investing it with somebody else, you should take that, right? And you should use it. And you'll experience greater respect, admiration, appreciation from your spouse and family. And the way I do that is through a simple 9-step process. I call it inception, progression, transformation. And in fact, what I'm going to be doing starting in a couple weeks, actually right now, I'll let you guys in on it, is I'm going to be doing something that I haven't done in a long time. It's called the 12-week immersion. And it's really designed to take you, from where you're at to where you might want to be in 12 weeks. Be it ideal weight, fitness, money, energy, some type of extraordinary skill. I've done this with people that wanted to do a lucid dream or astral projection. I've done it with people that wanted to move objects. It really comes down to what do you want to do in 12 weeks? What do you want to do? And so I lay out a system where we assess your skills. In fact, you can just take this chart and use it yourself too. You put together a discovery, a diagnosis, just like a doctor would. You set a game plan, a target. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? I teach you core exercises that are going to get you there. And a lot of times, core exercises are the energy, the meditations, the fact that you're, putting your body through these different, elements. And a lot of times it's a checks and balances, because I got news for you. If you do the right kind of chi training, you will experience weird side effects. You will sometimes feel like you're in another world. And quite frankly, if you don't have somebody to contact and say, I feel really strange and I got to go to work and I don't know what I'm going to do, it's nice to have somebody to be able to talk to and kind of pull some of that energy out of you so that you're not so weird. I've had it happen to me. I've had it happen to many students. It's also about creating ritual development or routine, and then creating the tactics for the breakthrough, creating a feedback loop, which allows you to be able to say, hey, I've done this, this, and this, and I've gotten this results. How do I get to the next level based on the work that I've done? And then you get real feedback. And it says, okay, you need to do this, you need to tweak that, and that'll take you to the next level, right? And then it's unblock and release. And then it's revitalize and transform. And this is a system that I put together that's designed to move somebody in about a 12-week period of time. You could do it faster, but 12 weeks is a good amount of time, because here's the thing. You have to create a habit, a ritual of everything you do. I'm included. I'm not included in this. If I want to create a habit, a ritual, I've got to put in the same flight time as you. And it's usually 21 days to create a habit. And then up to 66 days, usually, or 3 times 21, was that 63? 63 days where it's really locked in. But you got to continually keep going at it. Like I said, the guy that goes to the gym, lifts weights, hurts his body, and is sore for 3 days, doesn't go back. He's out of the loop. He's not going back, probably. There's got to be a reason, right? So you have to have a formation in order to make that kind of stuff. So I would say take bold action, decide on your vision, create a strategy or follow one that's already successful. Develop a powerful mindset and then learn a new skill set. If you've ever set up a call with me, and I know several of you have spoken to me over the phone, is that you'll notice that I have you watch 4 videos: vision, strategy, mindset, skill set. To me, these are like the key elements, basic key elements, if you want to move ahead in life in something, right? If you want to be better at your job, create a vision and a strategy to do a good job, right? And then the right mindset, the right attitude. If you have a bad attitude about your job or your company or whatever, you're not going to get there. And then you might have to learn a new skill set, even if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s. I've reinvented myself many, many times. I've been in real estate. I've been in coaching, obviously what I do now. I've been in the energy business. I've been in the technology field, software. These are all things coming from a guy that never graduated college. But anytime that I was going in a direction, I learned the skill set. You can do the same thing. You don't have to be a Harvard grad in order to do that. I always say that it doesn't matter if you come from Yale or if you come from jail. You can do this. You can do this. And that's the ticket. But not everybody's going to do it. They see it and they go, oh yeah, that looks good, but they fall off the turnip truck. You got to stay focused. And you got to say, listen, I want this to happen. Make it happen. Don't be the person that's not going to do it. But there's 2 things that hold people back: fear and doubt. In just about everything, it's fear and doubt. They want to get a new relationship, but they're afraid they're going to get rejected. They doubt they're going to meet the person that they are really going to like, and it holds them back. Or they're fearful of taking that new job because it's different. They doubt they can do the work. And what that does is it creates anxiety. And then the anxiety creates the trauma that stops the person from actually moving into that next phase. And that's, why you got to be aware. You got to be consciously aware of it. I can show you how to remove fear and doubt, but let me introduce you to Crystal. 24-year-old single mother of 2. She is Mexican American. Her parents don't speak very rough English. And when I met her, she was earning about $45,000. And within 2 years of my coaching, we scaled her up to $89,000. And we took her from a mediocre type of job to where she was one of the top performers. And the reason we were able to do that is she was willing to listen. She was willing to learn. She was willing to do some simple things to make it happen, which is very rare, first of all, for somebody that's that young. But guess what? She had to do it. She had 2 kids. She had to make it happen. She had the skills. She had the talents. It didn't matter the fact that her parents were immigrants and that, she could have looked at it as a negative. But, in the business that she was in, I used to say to her, I say, you know what, Crystal, you've got something that a lot of people don't have. You have the ability to communicate with Hispanic people on a level that I could never work with because I don't speak Spanish. I said, do you realize how many people you're going to be able to touch just because of that one thing? And I said, if you exploit that, you'll be more successful than all these other people that don't have that opportunity. See, she was seeing it as a negative. I saw it as a positive. And that's how she was able to grow and become the person that she is today. And she's doing fantastic today. I still stay in touch with her. But the thing is that if you want to be a player, you got to make player moves. And that's what I would tell her. Are you a player or are you not? I used to call it player or piker. Are you a player or are you a piker? And in some days, I would say to her, hey, listen, are you a piker today? Because you kind of maybe feel a little bit pikerish. And she'd say, I'm not a piker. I'm a player, Al. I said, all right, then. Stop complaining and get back to work. And sometimes that's what it takes. But the fact of the matter is she excelled. And she doesn't need me anymore. She's on her way. I helped her where I could. And that was amazing. And that comes down into the manifestation aspect. Abundance and prosperity. Manifestation. Money doesn't create power. Power creates money. And that's your mind power, right? You can manifest your dreams. You can learn proven techniques to manifest your deepest desires and create the life you envision. You can attract success and abundance in all areas, be it wealth, relationships, health, or personal growth. But it's understanding what that really means. Because as I mentioned before, I think there's a lot of bad teachers with manifestation. Because to me, I do believe in the energy, and I believe so much that you can manifest out of thin air. But I also believe that your mindset has to be at a certain level to do it that way. Now, like I said, with all of these elements, there's going to be some people that can automatically do it. I mean, there's people that are wealthy today that somebody would say, man, this person, they walk into it all the time. But that's the way their mind is geared. They believe it, they know it, they make it happen. But I want you to understand this concept. I mean, money does create some power, let's face it. But power creates money, and that's that mind power and that energy power that you have to go out there and make it happen. I've seen it happen time and time and time again with people I've worked with. I've seen it happen to people that, I mean, my own wife. We've been married 35 years. She watched the kids for 25 years. She was a high school dropout. Yeah, she did her GED, never went to college. And after 25 years of being a stay-at-home mom, she decides, I'm going to go out into the workforce. I said, hey, do what you want. I wasn't for it or against it. I was just like, whatever you want, whatever's going to make you happy. And the first job she took was a receptionist making $15 an hour. Within 2 weeks, she was the manager of the office because they said, this girl's smart. She didn't have all the book learning, but she made it happen. And then she just progressed to now where she's earning a high multiple six-figure income. It's manifestation. Did it happen all at once? No, but it's there. It happened. How else could you explain it? She didn't have any gifts handed to her. She didn't have anybody giving her anything. And I can tell you time and time again of people that I've worked with where we set it up like that. It's the mindset. My daughter's done the same thing. My daughters. My youngest daughter, she says, I want to stay home with my son. I have to find a job where I can stay home at least a couple days a week. I only want to work 4 days a week and I want to make this much money. I said, okay, you'll find it. She found a company, 5 miles from her house, making the money she wants. She spends the time with her son. Her husband's got a job. And the thing is, but she set the parameters. She had to learn a different skill set. She had to take tests. She had to do this, that, and the other. But you see, that's manifestation, is being able to have that vision, mindset, the skill set. That's manifestation. You want to manifest a better body? got to do the same thing. You got to have that. You might need a different skill set. And I know that sounds overly simplistic to many of you because you want your riches to come falling out of the sky. That doesn't happen. And even if you did win the lottery money is usually tainted. And you can just look how many people that won the lottery no longer have that money. Because I'm going to give you an important abundance factor that if you don't take anything home tonight, and this is what you're into, is understand the energy is attached to the money. If the money is gotten in a way that's dirty, drug dealing, gambling, lottery, some other illicit type of situation, the money's tainted. The energy of that money is bad. And if you have good energy, what do you think that money's going to do to you? It's going to taint you. It's going to taint you. And so that's why when people win the lottery, that money goes away. Strange, right? Why is that? Now here's the other thing. I coached a guy who said to me, I'm a gambler and I want to learn how to manifest gambling. Can you teach me? And I said, well, I'm not a gambler. I said, but I can teach you the concept. And the concept is this, is that you have to give yourself credit for work. You have to give yourself credit for the work. So if you win the lottery, you have to give yourself the credit with that lottery as if that was your full-time job. Because otherwise, you won't give yourself credit for it. It's a luck thing. And it's going to be money that you can just piss away because it was luck. But if you believe that you worked for that money, it's a totally different story. It's a totally different way to look at this whole concept of gambling, right? And so the same thing with this guy with gambling. He was a poker player. And I said, if you are a poker player and that's your job, then the gambling money you can clean because it's money that you earned. He's like, yeah, dude. He goes, I got to stay up on top of my game, man. I work harder than most people. I said, well, that's the attitude you have to go in with to create this manipulation and manifestation. If you go in like it's luck, if you go in like it's just gambling, the money's tainted, right? And the same thing's true with any kind of money that you get that is not earned. Look at inheritance. The individuals where the inheritance works out is where they take the money and they distribute it and make more money. And you can look in different people that have done that. A lot of people say bad things about Donald Trump, but and they say, oh, he was given millions of dollars by his father, which he was, but he took the money and he grew it. Had he taken the money and blown it on drugs and hookers, which he may have done anyway, but the thing is that the money would be different, right? And there's a lot of people that inherit money that just don't do anything with it positive. And so that's the way you got to look at these things of manifestations, is that if you really want to win a lottery and that's your thing, it's got to be your job. It can't be like, I'm just going to win a lottery and I'm not giving back to society. My love is not out there. My energy is not healing anybody. I'm just taking. See, that's a taker from the world. And that's the lottery mentality. I don't want to work. I just want to take. Okay. But if you took that lottery money and you put it to good use, you reinvested it into businesses and you created enterprise and you hired people and you had, let's say, hundreds of people that were now working for you, then you would have cleaned that money. But when you take the money and you hoard it, it's not going to work for you. It's just not. Look at how many basketball players, football players, actors, actresses, movie stars, musicians, they lose the money like crazy. You know why? Because they don't see it as value. They don't have a self-worth because they don't see it as real. You'll hear even actors say, I can't believe I'm making money doing this. But the ones that look at it as this is my job, they're doing very well. The ones that are the other are the ones that get into the drugs, into all the other stuff. This is so key when it comes to money. You earn your money. One way or the other, you earn it. And if you don't have the concept in your mind that you earn your money, you're not going to have a lot. You're not going to have a lot. But if everything that you do when you're manifesting money, like I spoke to another person maybe a couple weeks ago and I said, listen, you want to manifest? You've got to give service. You give service, you get something back. I give, like, for instance, here I am on a call with you, and I'm doing this for free, essentially. I know I'm giving out great information. Some of you are going to use it and get great results. Others are not going to. You're going to be like, so what? I heard that kind of stuff before. I'm not going to do it. Whatever. Too lazy. It's okay. I get it. But I know that what comes back to me is the value that I've given to you. I always see at least 3 to 10 times of everything that I do for somebody. So I anticipate a 3 to 10 time increase in my income and my worth based on the value that I give back to you. So this is never wasted time, even if one person showed up. It's never a wasted time. It's never a wasted value time. And see, that's the way you have to understand how this all works, is that you reap and you sow. And you reap in the east, you sow in the west. I do this session today. I may get a contract with a coaching client 2 weeks from now from a totally different source. But because I've been generating goodwill and sending you good energy, sending you love, I'm getting karma points for that. And you will too. But you have to give. If you don't give, you're not going to get. It's as simple as that. Those of you that work somewhere, you put in your time and you get a wage. That wage could be high, could be low, but you work for that wage and you get it. Those of you that don't work, you're not getting a wage. Maybe you're getting a handout, government assistance, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you have to give to get. And you have to always go in with that mindset. Like, for instance, my wife and I won gambling one time, like maybe $1,000 each. I said, I'm blowing all this money. It's gambling money. We just won it on a whim, one night in Vegas. We're giving it away. Or, we're just going to blow it. And that's what we did. I said, to me, it's tainted money. Just let's get rid of it. So we bought bobbleheads of each other. But anyway, that's a concept that I know I kind of harped on that point a lot, but probably 90% of the people that I talk to are all about the abundance. How do I make more money? How do I create more stuff? And the thing is, you want to make sure that you understand the concepts behind it that are going to cause you to get the results you want. There's an abundance consciousness and a scarcity consciousness. And you could look at this and see where you fall on a scale. And probably most of you are like this. You got some that are going, on the scarcity side, some that are on the abundance consciousness. But always remember, you've got to combat the scarcity with the abundance mindset. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be dead in the water in terms of getting that done. Let me give you something that I think is extremely valuable. Words out of your mouth, mind pictures, and energy. Conscious thought in the beginning, but then it becomes a subconscious element. That your words, your mind pictures, and your vibratory energy is going out to everybody. So I always say my words heal, quicken, which is energize, vitalize, prosper, satisfy, and make rich everyone I meet, including all of you on this call today. My words heal, quicken, vitalize, prosper, satisfy, and make rich everyone I meet. You've all been blessed with that by me saying that. And I've been blessed because I said it. Because I bestowed upon you the healing, the quickening, the vitalization, the prosperity. You're satisfied, and I'm making you rich. You see that? You see how that works? It's a duality. I'm doing it for you, but I'm also doing it for me because I'm genuinely looking to help someone. Again, these are little fine-tuned things, but they're so important that if you don't do it, then you're just like, you're doing what you've always done. But we're going to do another exercise that I think you're going to find interesting. And of course, to do another exercise, we're going to go back to we'll call it the Mojo Dojo, getting the mojo. But this is what I call recalling your power. And the way I want you to visualize this is as you're relaxed, breathe in deep, release. You recall all your power and say to yourself, I'm recalling all of my power. And as you say that, you imagine power, love, confidence, health, vitality coming into your body. You picture it coming up through the ground, through your feet, your legs, coursing through your body. You also feel it coming into the top of your head and just rushing down your body. The power. You feel it circulating in your entire body. It's pulsing. The power's real. You can feel it. And anytime, anywhere, you can recall your power. Open your eyes. Simple exercise to recall the power. I think some of you may say, these exercises are cute and everything, but didn't really feel anything. I don't know if my power has been recalled or not. And again, that's the mental link. You have to believe that you're recalling your power. Because always remember, your power is going to dissipate. And like a battery, it's going to drain down. So what do you do when the battery drains down? You got to charge it back up. Well, the same thing's true with your mind, body, spirit. You're going to get drained. I get drained. I can tell you this. If I have a heavy day of talking to people on the phone, I'm drained by the end of that because they're taking energy from me. I'm giving energy to them. And I'm not really getting much back because some people I talk to, I don't want their energy. So I'm going to block it. So if somebody's taking my energy because they're getting my advice and stuff, by the end of the day, my battery, and I don't mean my phone battery, but my battery's, it's depleted. So I've got to recall my power. And you can even use the visualization, y'all probably have cell phones, is like you just plug in and you feel yourself recharging. You know how that battery level just goes up? You can just picture that recharging. Now you can picture it as slow or as fast as you want. It doesn't have to take an hour to recharge. You could take, a minute, a couple seconds to recharge the body, the mind, and the spirit, which I think is pretty interesting.